Most documentary interviews fall flat for one simple reason. The interviewer is trying too hard to please. And it's not their fault. I mean, we're taught as young kids that it's rude to ask personal questions of strangers, but that's the job. I personally relish it because I've always been a little too forward.
Forgive me if I'm being too forward here, but...
The key to a deep interview is knowing how to apply pressure. Just enough to crack something open without obviously breaking the person inside. Like an Alaskan snow crab leg. Like, you don't want to damage the meat, but you want to crack the shell. So today, I'm going to show you 5 techniques I use in every documentary I direct, and instead of just explaining them, I'm going to demonstrate them. I'll be interviewing an Olympic curler whose drinking problem cost his team a medal. And yes, I do ask him whether he was drunk during the semifinal.
Oh my goodness!
You're going to want to stick around for that. So let's go. Short questions. Long questions kill answers. The shorter questions keep the pressure on them. So here's the wrong way. So when you were competing at the Olympic level and managing all that pressure and the expectations and also dealing with personal struggles and alcohol and the team dynamics, the spotlight and all that stuff, and because I know when I was a kid, I was also playing curling. I was a big curler as a kid, and when I did, I remember how much pressure there was too, and yeah, I mean, what was your question? That question did all the work. All the pressure was on the interviewer, not the interviewee. Now the right way. When did you know you had a problem? I couldn't curl without shaking, and I started going through withdrawal. I missed a shot that I had made 1,000 times. Short question, clean pressure, forces them to dig. Number 2, mirroring. This technique comes straight from therapy, at least my therapy. It's called mirroring. You reflect what you're hearing without judgment, so the person feels safe enough to go even deeper. Here's the wrong way. You must have felt ashamed letting your team down, right? Yeah, I guess. So that's judgment disguised as empathy. You must have felt is telling them what they felt, and you're judging them in the process. So now they're going to shut down, interview done. Here's the right way. I see a person with an enormous amount of pressure on his shoulders. The hardest part was looking up in the stands and seeing my parents who had sacrificed so much for me, and I just throw it all away. Mirroring is just an observation without judgment, and it keeps the pressure on. Judging shuts the conversation down. All right, this is my favorite one. Strategic silence. This is the ultimate pressure move because silence is so uncomfortable, but that's why it works. This one is a nightmare for the rescuers and pleasers out there who don't want anyone to feel discomfort. Here's the wrong way. What did the drinking cost you? My starting position? Yeah, I could see that, and I could see how it may have caused some tension with the coach. You just rescued him instead of keeping the pressure on him to dig deeper. Now the right way. What did the drinking cost you? My starting position as the skip. And my best friend, who was vice skip on the team, stopped talking to me because he felt like I didn't care anymore. I mean, I started curling at 2 years old, man. This cost me a lifetime of dreams just down the drain. Not to mention all the kids whose dreams I've crushed, along the way. The gold comes after the pause. So ask, wait, don't rescue. Redirect like a pro. When people get nervous, they drift, they over-explain, over-talk, and that's human nature, that's normal. They move to safer territory. Your job is to keep the pressure on without embarrassing them. So here's the wrong way. What happened after that match? Well, my coach came to me and said something I'll never forget. You know what this got me thinking of, man? Like, the universe, we're so small, and here we are. We're just spinning, we're moving through space, and I don't know, I was just thinking, I had the best taco. The wrong thing to do here is to let this continue down the wrong track forever. Here's the right way to do it. What happened after that match? Well, my coach came to me and said something I'll never forget. You know, this kind of reminds me of the universe a little bit right now. Just thinking about this, like, let me pause you there. You were about to say something important, and I just don't want to forget. So let me ask you that question again. What happened after the match? Coach came to me after the game and said something I'll never forget, which is, I'm going to f***ing kill you for everything you've done to me and how you've ruined my career, you piece of That's redirecting. Don't be over apologetic. This is your interview. Simply acknowledge and refocus. The bold move. Every interview has a purpose, or you wouldn't be interviewing them. A core question that gets to the heart of the matter or the story. You don't ask this on your first question, you build up to it so it's not jarring. And when the time is right, you ask without any hesitation and as directly as possible.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
This is the bold move, the wrong way. Do you think that alcohol affected your performance? Yeah, I mean, probably. This lacks confidence. It's super safe. It doesn't really get to the heart of it. Now for the real question. Were you drunk during the semifinal? Yeah, I mean, not falling down drunk. I was still able to read the ice.
Oh, Joe!
Then I started streaking through Olympic Village, and I knew it was over at that point when I woke up and realized I had done that, and it was all over NBC News.
Damn!
That's the bold move. Specific and direct and short. Active tense. It's calm. It's not aggressive or performative. And you have to ask it because at this point, the audience is dying to know. And when you don't let people off the hook easily, the audience trusts you more as a storyteller. And of course, I always like to throw in a bonus when I can. Before you wrap, always ask this question. Is there something that you hoped I would ask, but I didn't? You know, no one ever asked me if I miss it a lot. I miss the sound of the stone leaving my hands. Sometimes the best moment comes once you admit you may have missed something. Lighting matters, framing matters, but it's not going to save a shallow interview. So remember, short questions, observations, or, reflecting, mirroring, silence, your best tool, redirection, gotta do it, and one bold move. I mean, not every interview is going to have like a groundbreaking bold move, but every interview has a heart or a core of why you're interviewing them in the first place. You got to get to it. And it's not about being liked or comfortable. It's about applying pressure in a respectful way. So if you guys want to critique my acting, whatever, I encourage you to do so in the comments below, as well as any questions or your own techniques that you've used over the years and has worked for you. But that's all I got. So that's your weekend update. Make docs, move hearts. Peace.